Well, I was born in a small town, and I live in a small town. Probably die in a small town. Oh, those small communities. Hey! The Midwest. Possibly the most pure, hardest working, honest place in America. The people are friendlier, the food is wholesomer, and the fireflies are thicker. If the Northeast is America's brains, then the Midwest is sort of America's guts. Now, not every part of the Midwest is all happy emojis. Of course, some parts of the Midwest are sad, poor, dangerous places. For this educational video, we're going to explore which entire states are the worst of them all. Also keep in mind, a bad Midwest state doesn't necessarily mean it's bad all around. It just means that in compared to other states in the Midwest, it's less good. Now, what criteria did we use to rank the states? Well, it's pretty straightforward actually. We measured crime, poverty, job opportunities, and quality of life factors, such as things to do and even how many families are divorced or not. So put on your overalls and fire up that tractor as we take a tour of the worst states in the Midwest. As the sun rises over Lake Michigan, we begin our tour of the worst states in the Midwest in Michigan. Whoa, Michigan. I actually like your state a lot. Michigan's actually a really cool place. So don't blame me, blame Mappy. Haha, JK. No, blame the statistics. Actually, blame Detroit. Mostly because of Detroit and Flint, Michigan ranks first in the Midwest for highest poverty rate, has the highest unemployment rate, and is second in violent crimes. If it wasn't for those two places, Michigan would actually not be talked about on this list. A few other places that kind of suck in Michigan are Pontiac, Muskegon Heights, Hamtramck, and Benton Harbor, which locals affectionately call Benton Harlem. So sad that a few bad apples can ruin everything. A big financial company did an analysis, and apparently Michigan is the worst state for identity theft. 17% of all identity theft reports come from this state alone. There's a thing called smishing that people are doing where they send texts out asking for money, and I guess Michigan people fall for it the most. And then there's the potholes. There's two seasons in Michigan, winter and construction. When the snow melts, they start fixing the roads and they make them sort of decent again. Then winter comes back and ruins all their hard work. Of course, Michigan has a very large coastline with both Lake Michigan and Lake Superior. Michigan also has the longest freshwater coastline in the US, and in terms of actual coastline, it's second only to Alaska. As such, Michigan has the most lighthouses in the country too.
Did you know Michigan has the most boaters in the US?
Hey, it's Mappy. Hi, Mappy. Glad you're back. That Google Mappy sure sucked. You do a much better job, and I'm sorry I yelled at you.
Thanks, Nick.
All right, Mappy. Okay, Mappy. Bye, Mappy. Mappy pointed out Michigan's large number of boaters. There's a few other great things about Michigan too. Like, you guys have one of the best flags in the country. So majestic. And one of Michigan's cities is home to the world's largest manufacturing center for magician supplies. Does that mean there's a lot of Michigan magicians? But something that might just make Michigan super cool and not so bad is that Battle Creek, Michigan is the cereal capital of the world. Battle Creek is home to Mr. Post, who invented grape nut cereal in 1897. At one time, there were over 30 cereal companies in Michigan. Now, there's Kellogg and Post. Honeycomb's big. Yeah. It's not small. No. Honeycomb's got a big taste, big crunch, and a big bite. So if you like cereal like I do, you'd agree Michigan certainly deserves props for making such a tasty treat. We'll take something to remind us of our trip to Michigan as we go to our next worst Midwest state, Kansas. Kansas City lights shine for me tonight. Moving on, we come to our next worst state in the Midwest, Kansas. While Michigan's few large urban areas is where their problem areas are, in Kansas, it's the smallish, middle-of-the-nowhere places that give their state headaches. Drug use, and especially meth, plague these small Kansas towns, resulting in high unemployment rates, higher than average poverty rates, and lots of property crimes. Kansas actually has the second highest number of property crimes per capita in the whole Midwest. Some of the well-known places in Kansas are Wichita and Kansas City, Kansas. These two large cities aren't even in the top 50 most dangerous cities, nor are they in any high poverty list either. So that's good. So collectively, it's the small cities in Kansas that are the problem, and many of the worst ones are in southeast Kansas. Places like Coffeyville, Parsons, and Pittsburgh are rough. Independence, Kansas has also seen better days. Rural southeast Kansas looks a lot like this.
Because you have a warrant.
Well, what do I get a warrant for?
Listen, I don't know. They put out a Revere Most Wanted list. Your name was on it.
And these places all even have a community college there. Imagine how bad they'd be if they didn't. Of course, Kansas also has Kansas City suburbs Overland Park and Olathe, which are regularly voted as two of the best cities in America by people who vote on that sort of stuff. That's where your Kansas snobs live, people. Did you know Kansas has the second most tornadoes in America? It's true. Texas is actually first. That's interesting. Not that tornadoes are the worst thing in the world. Actually, no, they are. But are people in Kansas afraid of tornadoes? Do they even really care about them? We called some places in Kansas to find out.
Hello?
Hey, is this Kansas?
Yeah?
Okay, cool. Hey, are you guys afraid of tornadoes?
Yeah?
Okay, that's all I was wondering.
Wait, why? Is there one coming?
No, I don't know. Okay, thanks, bye.
Wait, but...
Hello?
A tornado's coming.
What?
I'm sorry, what do you do when a tornado's coming?
Run? Why? Is there one coming?
Oh, I don't know. Sorry.
Wait, what's going on? Was there a siren?
Geez, people in Kansas are on edge. As we leave Kansas, looking out across our shoulder for any impending storms, we thought it would make sense to take this with us as a keepsake. That's a dryer to hide in case a tornado comes. Back home again in Indiana. All the way on the other side of Missouri and Illinois is Indiana. It's too far to drive the tractor, so we'll hop in the pickup truck. It's just about lunch by now, and we're sure there's some comfort food around here somewhere. Now, Indiana isn't the worst place you could live, to be honest. I spent 5 summers there. But when you look at the stats on what people say they like about a place, Indiana has a few things that stand out. Indiana actually ranks 3rd in the Midwest for overall crimes each year, mostly due to a far higher than average number of home break-ins and car thefts. In that same vein, Indiana residents are the 3rd poorest and the 3rd most out of work, which is primarily the reason Hoosiers are second only to Missourians when it comes to least number of insured residents. And if you're a tree hugger, it might pain you to know Indiana is the 2nd least green state in all of America. The Hoosier state has the 6th worst carbon footprint and the 5th worst water quality. But I don't think this guy gives a crap about being green, do you? As a whole, Indiana definitely holds its own with farm production. And we tried to find something really amazing to say about Indiana, but we couldn't? Unless you count this. Apparently, if there's ever a zombie apocalypse, you want to be in Indiana, because there's a lot of places to grow food and everyone has a gun. California's the best place to survive a zombie attack? That's a huge surprise. Of course, there are some real bright spots in Indiana in places like Zionsville, Fishers, and Munster, where crime is super low and things are all peace and quiet about everything. But those are a far cry from Indiana's largest cities. Indianapolis, in particular, just might be the least inspiring capital of any state. It's pretty bleak, dangerous, and quite honestly, not very fun. And places like South Bend, Elkhart, Gary, and East Chicago are just about as bad as it gets in the Midwest. Here in Gary, things are really bad. There were nearly 500 violent crimes in Gary last year. The unemployment rate's like 15%, and just about the whole place lives near poverty.
Indiana is a U.S. state located in the Midwestern and Great Lakes regions of North America.
Oh, snap! Mappy, it's Google Mappy!
What's that thing doing back again?
I don't know, but don't let that thing try to take your job. Do something about it, Mappy!
Ouch, ouch, that hurts.
Oh, hell yeah! Get it, Mappy!
Stop, Mappy.
Kick its butt!
That hurts, Mappy, please stop.
Oh, dang!
Mappy, why are you being so mean to me?
Oh, Mappy wins!
This is my channel. Go back to Google, you stupid wannabe me.
Oh, Mappy, that was amazing. I'm so proud of you. Do you want to give us some interesting facts?
Did you know Indiana used to be 80% forest?
Hey, that's interesting. I didn't know that, Mappy. And now Indiana is only 17% forest, since they're growing all that corn and beans for cows to eat, so we can eat the cows. Great job, Mappy. Well, it's time to leave Indiana, but we'll take something with us as a keepsake. Ohio, oh, 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 oh. Right across the border from Indiana is the state of Ohio, our second worst Midwest state.
The best things in life are free. The next best are just, well, worth it. You get the point.
That was old Ohio. This is now Ohio. This is Dayton, one of many troubled cities in the Buckeye State. We just called Dayton the third poorest city in the nation, and for good reason, as about 1 in 3 people here lives in poverty. And Cleveland is the second poorest city in America, where there's even more poor. And if you've never ever been to Chillicothe, Ohio, you're not missing much. It's pretty lacking in charm. As a state, Ohio is ranked as the 10th worst in the US, and that's 5 spots lower than a couple years ago, so Ohio is going in the wrong direction. Regionally, it's the second poorest Midwest state, and it's been like that for a while. In fact, Ohio ranks dead last in terms of income growth among its residents over the past 50 years. Ohio also has the Midwest's 4th highest property crime rate and 3rd highest unemployment rate. And believe it or not, it's the most densely populated Midwest state. Ohio, though, apparently ranks first for both quality of public libraries and number of hours people spend at the library. Well, what else is there to do there? It's Ohio. Let's see what fun things there are to do in Ohio.
There's a great day waiting for you with everything you want to do. Great park, great lake, great day. Cedar Point, the amazement park by the lake.
There's a great day waiting for you. Ohio is so cool. No, not really. What does Ohio give us that we should all be thankful for? Well, Ohio ranks 5th in America for growing tomatoes. That's interesting. It's also right up there in terms of maple production too, believe it or not. Cincinnati's pretty cool, and Columbus isn't so bad either, at least for the Midwest and all. An interesting note, Ohio has the 5th most hunters per capita. Pennsylvania has the most. Before we leave Ohio, we need to take something with us. I grabbed a book for one of Ohio's amazing libraries. It's The Three Little Pigs, since Ohio has so many farms. And I got a bottle of ketchup. Have you ever got down with the redneck? With the boys round here, drinking that ice cold beer. Backwoods legit, don't take no shit. Chew tobacco, chew tobacco, chew tobacco, spit. Well, it's just about sunset now, and after a 5.5-hour drive across bean fields, we're ready for a beer. But we shouldn't just stop anywhere. After all, this is Missouri. Check this out. Missouri's the most dangerous state in the whole Midwest, and there's not even a close second. So we better keep our wits about us. This ain't no little house on the prairie, mister. What makes Missouri so dangerous anyways? Mostly St. Louis. It's kind of the sleeping tiger of Dangerland. Many people outside the Midwest aren't aware of how bad St. Louis truly is for violence. Now, St. Louisians will defend their city and say that most of downtown and the surrounding areas are actually great, and St. Louis gets a hard rap because the suburbs are where the crap happens. But Kansas City, Missouri is no walk in the park either. It's the 13th most dangerous place you can live in America. As a whole, Missouri ranks worst in 4 categories we measured, and its residents are the second poorest of all. Yeah, we get it. A lot of Missourians don't measure their happiness by how much money they make, especially in southern Missouri. There's a big difference between the north end of Missouri and the southern part. Northerners call it Missouri. Here it's flatter, like a prairie. Southern Missouri is more mountainy, where they call their state Missouri. As such, it's sort of a hybrid Midwest southern state. But whatever side of the tracks you live in the Show Me State, you can be sure you'll see lots of trailer parks. Just kidding, Missouri. Sorta.
Did you know St. Louis has the biggest brewery in the United States?
Mappy, you look Midwest rough, fella. Way to turn things around with some good news. I'm sure all the beer drinkers out there were interested to hear that. Actually, I also heard Missouri is the most charitable state, and St. Louis ranks like at the top with the number of people who give to charity. Good for them. Sadly, our tour of the Midwest has come to an end, and it's time to leave the Midwest entirely. We picked something up in Missouri to remember it by. Now it's time to head back to the confines of North Carolina. It's safe to say that we learned a lot, both good and bad, about many of our fine Midwest states. In case you're curious, these are the best Midwest states according to research data. Now it's time for bed, and we're already craving another pork tenderloin sandwich. The end. Hey guys, if you learned something new or you just like this video, make sure to like it. And if you really like this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you get all of our videos about what it's like to live in different places in America. Peace.